Today I'm going to talk about Galatians 6:7. Do not be deceived. God cannot be mocked. A man reap what he sows. And we can see this verse in the Venezuela president Hugo Chavez, who cursed the Jews in the land of Israel. Within a year, he had lung cancer and died. After he made that speech, Venezuela has been on a downward spiral economically, and the situation is pretty bad. As with every great nation of the past, like Egypt and Babylonia, who also cursed Israel and the Jews. Now today, when you look at those civilizations, they're gone, because end Jews are thriving and own almost everything around the world. What does this tell you? That God's people should not be cursed, because they are God's people. You want to be in God's good side, you do not curse his people or his land. So the new president of Venezuela, Nicolás Maduro, continues to follow Hugo Chavez's socialist beliefs, and Venezuela continues to get worse. It's just ridiculous, just attacking the United States and attacking Israel, and these countries have not done anything to you. In fact, Cuba is is negotiating with the United States, and everything is fine. You should be following Cuba. You're following Cuba in a socialist way. Why do you want to fight with this country? It does not make sense. You're going to lose in the end. You are losing tourist money. It's very bad when you're enemies of Israel and the United States. It's just a very dumb decision. I have a cousin that lives in Caracas, Venezuela, and I spoke with him the other day, and he told me that things are so bad that they have to make a huge line just to get toilet paper. This is incredible. Just to get toilet paper, they have to make a line that goes all the way outside around the block. So Venezuela was a democratic nation, and they have gone from democratic to a socialist nation. So it's just sad. It's a sad situation. But if you don't know about God, and you don't know about God's people and about God's land, and they don't know that cursing God's people and God's lands will bring upon them bad situations, which they're going through right now. If you want to be blessed, you don't curse God's people or God's land, because God blessed the Jews, and he blessed Israel. So when you curse Israel, God's grace leaves you, and the devil attacks you. And this is what happened to Hugo Chavez. He cursed Israel, and within a year he got lung cancer and died. He died begging the doctors to save him. And this is what happens, when you when you curse God's people. And this is sad, because their lack of biblical education and just egotistical thinking has led to this. So here we see clearly that Those that curse God's land and people are cursed to receive the plagues in the Bible. They end up like Egypt and Babylonia. All that's left of ancient Egypt and Babylonia are its ruins. Now, when you go into Egypt looking for the Egyptian civilizations, all you find that's left are the pyramids and the ruins, and that's all you find. 80 kilometers from Iraq, you find the ruins of Babylonia. And God said in the Bible that Babylonia will never ever be, it will never have people ever again. And as you can see today, you go to Iraq, 80 kilometers from Baghdad, there lies the ruins of Babylonia, just as the Bible says. Isaiah 13, 17, 20 states that Babylonia will never be inhabited again. The Assyrians destroyed Babylonia, and today, 80 kilometers from Baghdad, the Babylonian ruins can be seen. Alexander the Great tried to restore Babylonia, and before he began the project, he got malaria and died of malaria. He got malaria and had a fever and died from malaria. Saddam Hussein had plans to restore Babylonia and was captured and killed for his crimes against Iraq. The prophet Jeremiah in Jeremiah 50:39 also says that Babylonians will never be inhabited. That Babylonia will never be inhabited from generation to generation. This is Jeremiah 50:39, 40. The prophets Isaiah and Jeremiah predicted that Babylonia will never be inhabited again. And today, when you go to Iraq, 80 kilometers from Baghdad, lies the ruins of Babylonia, just like the Bible predicted, just like the prophets Isaiah and Jeremiah predicted. This is irrefutable proof that God and Jesus are true, and that what the Bible says is true. So there's no other proof that you need to understand that what the Bible says is true, and that God and Jesus are the truth. This is clear. You go to Iraq today, 80 miles from Baghdad, the capital of Iraq, lie the ruins of Babylonia. So this is irrefutable proof for you unbelievers, for you atheist people, that what the Bible says is true. And when you go to Babylonia, in 80 kilometers, go to Iraq, and 80 kilometers from Baghdad, you will see that what the Bible says is true. There lies the ruins of Babylonia. So Venezuela is heading on the same path of destruction as Egypt and Babylonia, and all those other nations that cursed Israel. 2 Chronicles 7:14 states, "If my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven, and I will forgive their sins, and I will heal their land." This is a very clear answer, is that this is very clear. The answer is in God and not in man. So when you see Haiti, which is the neighbor of Dominican Republic, is the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. It's not the entire world. And this is because they practice voodoo. And because they practice voodoo and do not seek God, this is why Haiti is one of the poorest countries in the world. And I heard stories from Dominican pastors that have gone to Haiti and said that there's practically no plantation, no vegetation, because the land is so cursed that it cannot even give vegetation. So they practically have to import stuff from the Dominican Republic, according to what I heard. But this is the 2 Chronicles 7:14 states, if they will stop practicing voodoo and seek God, their land will be restored. And they will be blessed, and the land will be restored, and there will be vegetation. So this is why you must seek God. So Venezuela officials curse God's people, and relying on their own ideas of government is not helping Venezuela, but rather it is creating a situation that is affecting Venezuela in a negative way. Instead of getting closer to God, they are deviating from God's ways until Satan comes in and creates havoc on your people and your land. Therefore, man reap what he sows. The truth and healing is with God and not in man. Not in man. You have to seek God for restoration and for healing. If you curse God and his people, this is what will happen to you. Venezuela is the perfect example of another Babylonia and another Egypt, who relied on themselves instead of God, and that's what happened. So the Bible is the truth, and as you can see today, when you go to Egypt and Babylonia, in Iraq, when you go to Egypt and Iraq, all you see of the old Egyptian civilization is the pyramids, and of Babylonia, the ruins, just like the Bible says. The Bible says the truth, and it's clear for atheists. This is irrefutable proof that the God is true and that the Bible is true. So, this is irrefutable truth, and you cannot fight truth. Thank you for watching.